Okay, coming to the research design. We were talking earlier, right? So what's a research design? A research design gives the researcher a blueprint. What's a blueprint? When you build a house, you've seen those diagrams, right? So that will tell how much of, now supposing this the area of that particular site is so many feet by so many feet. So how big a building can you build, and what will be the dimensions of each room? Okay, you can almost figure out how many rooms, how well you can build that house, and whether it has to be, if it's a small place, can you make it into a 2-bedroom house by, maybe having a first floor or something like that. So just giving you an example. Okay, so this is what we call as a blueprint. So what's a research design? It's a blueprint telling you and giving you an idea before you start. Like I told you, if you're going hiking, I just gave you that example. If you're going hiking, you're not just walking out of the door. That is not a good research design. Okay, not research design, not the right way to do anything. So how do you do it? You have a plan. That is that plan that you put to ensure. So, like instead of saying hiking, let me put it as a birthday party. You have a birthday party. How would you decide on your birthday party? Would you just get up in the morning and say, oh, today is my birthday, just call everybody, come home? No. You have a plan. What dress to wear? Where are you going to celebrate your birthday party? How much are you going to spend on the birthday party? How many friends are you going to call? Who are on your birthday list? And how are you going to conclude the birthday party? Whether it's going to be outside or within your house. See, that's your blueprint, your planning. If you plan properly, you'll be able to implement it well. That is the meaning. So a research design is a plan. And when it is put in a proper perspective, it will help you to run the research through in a smooth way. That's the meaning. Okay. So research, you can see the points that I mentioned. Research design gives the researcher a blueprint regarding what the study is about, why the study is being made, where the study will be carried out, what type of data is required, where can required data be found, time frame required for the study, what will be the sample design or what will be the sample size. I'll come to sampling later. Okay. And techniques of data collection that we just now learned, right? Techniques, basically primary and secondary. And how will the data be provided or collected or analyzed, and style to be adopted for preparation of reports. So reports, there are different ways in which you can present a report. So supposing if it is a business report, then you have a different method. If it's for a proposal to the government, it's a different report. If it's your college report, you have already guidelines given, so you're following a report. If it's a PhD, it's similar to what you're doing. Only thing is it's a much in-depth study. Okay, so the same process is the same. It's not different, no different. Okay, so this is what a business research design is. I hope things are clear. Are there any doubts? Please make a note, or I'll just stop a little while now just to ask questions before I take it forward. Do you have any questions? Are you able to follow? Any questions still here? Hello? Any questions? Yeah, feel free. Please feel free. You have any questions, you can ask me. Till here, if you have any questions, you can ask me. And then I can go to I can take you forward. I can take it forward to the types of research design. Can I go forward? Hello? Are you able to listen to me? I can see Akshay. I can see there 33 here. Rohan, Shweta. Can I take it forward? Are you able to follow?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I'm the next point is, now you've understood what's a research design. It's a blueprint. Now this blueprint can be of two types. I've drawn a chart here to make it easy to understand. The research design, that is the blueprint that you make before you start your research, could be either exploratory in research, exploratory in nature, or we call it as exploratory research, or it could be conclusive in nature or conclusive research. Okay, so research design could be of two types. One is exploratory design or research, or it could be conclusive research. And exploratory research, I've written FIR just to make it easier to understand. You know what's an FIR, right? So it doesn't have too much of probing. FIR is first information report. So when there's some accident or some crime or something happens, the police go there and initially find out what all is happening. They make a note of everything. Okay, like in movies, you see that when the police arrives, the poor hero is holding the knife. Actually, the villain killed him and he would have ran off, and the hero is holding the knife. So first information report, the police catches the hero. Okay, so it is not true, right? Only after investigation you know whether it is true or not. So the exploratory research is something like very arbitrary. It may or may not be true. Okay, but it gives you an overview. A very good example of exploratory research is, I guess all of you watch the news on television. I'm not sure if you like listening to the news, or little at least. Please watch. As MBA students of MBA, it's good, it's advisable to listen to the news, because that gives you a lot of information with regard to your area of study, whether it's marketing, finance, business analytics, or HR, whatever. Okay. So when I'm talking about this exploratory research, a good example is usually Fridays, you would, supposing it is the news channel informing you about a recent movie of a particular hero or heroine. They go to a nearby cinema hall, and as the movie ends and all the all those who went to watch the movie are walking out, they keep asking them, how was the movie, and you'll have a lot of them saying, oh, it was fantastic. And many of them, just because they see the camera, they come forward and then they speak and they scream and they say, it was wonderful and all that. This is something like an exploratory research. It may or may not be true. I'll give you one more example. Now, I'll just ask one of you, please go to your parking lot in your college and just see how many scooters are there. So I presume that, the girls ride a scooter, because boys can ride both scooter and a bike. Okay, but girls, majority will come in scooter, because not all are comfortable using a bike. Girls do use bikes. I'm not saying no, but few of them, because not all your costumes will make you comfortable to sit on a bike when compared to a scooter. Because if you have a sari, it's difficult for you. If you're wearing a skirt or you're wearing a lehenga, you cannot comfortably sit on a bike and ride a bike, right? Whereas in a scooter, it is comfortable. So usually, based on the costumes that we wear, we feel that it is comfortable to purchase or own a scooter. Whereas for boys, they have an option. They can buy either a scooter or a bike. Okay, so now I just tell you, please go to your parking lot and just check out how many bikes and how many scooters are there. So you just go there, you stand maybe at an elevated place, maybe a first floor or something like that, and then you just watch and see, and then you see that there are few scooters and you see a major number of bikes. Now you come back and tell me, I found few scooters. You need not count. You can just see. You see that there are few scooters. When compared to bikes, I found more number of bikes, whereas compared to them, the scooters seem to be less. Now, if I say, okay, then there are very few girls who are coming by to college in a vehicle. Majority of them are boys. Will it be true? It need not be true, right? Maybe on that particular day, a majority of the girls were on leave. Probably. or maybe on that particular day the boys also who come on scooters did not come to college, they bunked college maybe. So it is not giving me a correct picture, but it's overall telling me, but if I watch it for 2-3 days continuously, and then I can come to a conclusion saying, yeah, there are more number of bikes when compared to scooters. But again, that may not, that just gives me an arbitrary what do you say, view, okay, and understanding. In fact, but it doesn't mean that it is of no use. It helps me to create my hypothesis. I hope you understand now how it is linked. Okay, so that helps me to create a hypothesis. Now, the second type of research design is the conclusive research. Okay, the first one I told you is the exploratory research, and the second one, so that is like an FIR, and the second is the conclusive research, as you can see on your screen. Okay, so the conclusive research is can be further divided into two. One is descriptive research, or it could be an experimental or causal. Cause and effect. Okay, so conclusive, you're concluding based on this, it means it is this. So you're concluding. So conclusive research can be descriptive, you're describing the problem. Okay, descriptive research, or it could be an experimental or causal. Experimental means you're doing an experiment and coming up with a a conclusion. That's why it is a conclusion. Conclusive research means you're concluding. So because of this, the reason why this is happening is because of this. This is conclusive research. So conclusive research could be either of two types. One is descriptive, you're describing the problem, or it could be exploratory, or it could be experimental, or it could be causal. Causal means you're identifying the cause of that problem, coming up with a solution. So these are the types of research design. Now, coming to why do we need to do a research design, the purpose of the research design. One is exploratory research. I hope you understood now. Exploratory research and conclusive. So exploratory research gives rise to hypothesis. I just told you now. It's not just it is a waste, but it helps you to supposing I watch the parking lot in your university, and I find that for 2-3 days, and then I find that majorly they are bikes and a few comparatively less number of scooters. I can presume that in this particular university, the girls prefer to come by bus rather than come in their vehicle, and majority of the vehicle belong to boys. This is a hypothesis that I'm preparing based on my observation. Listen, okay. So it's just helping me to prepare a hypothesis, whereas the conclusive research will help me to test that hypothesis. Okay, can you understand? I hope you're understanding. See, through this, I'm able to identify or come up with a hypothesis. This is true, this is false, or something like that, or this movie is very good because of the heroine, or something like that. Okay, so this is an exploratory research. Now, to test and find out really, is it because of the heroine that the film is running so well? Then I'm using conclusive research to check. So I've used this for creating a hypothesis, whereas I'm using this to test this hypothesis, whether it is true or not. What I presumed, is it true or not? So how do I do it? Either through descriptive research, or I do an experimental or a causal research. Cause. So here when I say heroine, it is cause. Okay. So I do a causal research to find out. So this is exploratory research. These conclusions, when tested for validity, lay the structure for decision making. So once I get the conclusion, I'm able to give a decision. Okay, and conclusive research can be classified as descriptive or experimental. That's what I mentioned in the chart. Okay, and this is just to help you out for your studies when you're writing your exams. Okay. Now, coming to business, to exploratory research. I hope you understood now. So we are coming to exploratory research. So how do you go about this exploratory research? It is, firstly, you do a literature survey, which will help you to identify the research gap. So, sorry. So what is a literature survey? Literature survey is a secondary data that you are using to get a better idea about the topic or the problem statement that you've identified for your study. So what is uh, literature? How do you how do you collect, or how do you get your literature? um, Earlier it was a little challenging. During my times, we had to go to libraries and check, subscribe to journals and so on. But now it is very easy because you get everything in the click of a button. You go to any search engine and you ask for it, and okay, um, on the other side, serious, on a very other note, not a serious note, they may be, some of you who might be thinking, why all this? Because I can just go to any of the AI and ask for a paper, and I just give a topic and it'll give me the whole paper. So why do I waste my time listening to this? Okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You have to work smartly. You should no need to work hard. You need to work smart. That is how a good manager is, right? But here what happens is, if you know the actual process, okay, please listen carefully. If you know the process, AI, it can go wrong, or AI might not give you the right answer, because if you ask it a question and confuse it, it will give you some vague answer. It's true. Okay, so if you know the process, if you know what to put in, you can use AI to help you rather than depend on AI. So if you depend on AI, what happens is, once you become totally dependent, it becomes very tough for you without AI. Don't let that happen. You should not be a slave to AI. You should make AI work for you rather. Otherwise, because that will help you to stay in the market. Please remember that. Okay. So literature survey is, now supposing I want to know about consumer behavior for a particular Bata shoes, or if I want to know whether what is the stress level, how can stress level among the constables, traffic constables, be maintained in a positive, at a positive level. Because see, these constables, the traffic cops, they have to stand for a very long time, under rain, under sun, under and constantly listening to the vehicle horn, and every time they have to show signal. Sometimes if the signal lights do not work, then they have to manually ensure that there's a smooth flow. So it's very stressful. For us, it's easy, we just pass by, so we don't really realize. But they come under HR, right? If you get a job there in a police academy, then they are your somebody you have to take care of. So right, so this way you look into the study. So I'm just giving you an example. So you might want to do a study on that. Okay, let us take this example of the cops. You want to know the stress level faced by them and how you can do something to reduce that stress, or do you motivate them. So it is not that you're the only one who's doing that. There may be so many studies which has been done, not only in India. Maybe somebody has done it in Jammu, somebody has done it in Punjab, somebody has done it in Amritsar, Punjab, somebody has done it in different states. Can happen, right? Because you have police across, and everybody. It's not necessary that only you get the idea. The same idea someone else also must have got it. So what you do is you check through the internet, and then these platforms asking for research articles on stress levels, studies on stress levels in police, maybe police women, or women police, or maybe just policemen or traffic cops or something like that. Okay, you just identified a topic. You'll get a number of leads. What you do is you start reading them. Initially you might find it very boring. You see what doesn't look like a story also. But then once you get the knack of it, if you read it properly, maybe 3 or 4. You need to read at least a few. Once you read them, you'll find it very easy to read the rest. You'll be able to know whether, it's just like reading the newspaper. When you read the headlines, you'll know, okay, there isn't much. Okay, I understood. You can just read a few lines and you understand exactly what it is. And some are very interesting that you read line to line. Okay, it's like that. So literature survey will help us to identify how these studies have been done. So what is the effect of the stress level affecting, how is it affecting these police people in Jammu or in Haryana, or different places, or not only in India. You can get studies even abroad, happening abroad on your mobile handset. So once you get this data, once you read this data, you get a lot of information. You also get to know how police working in this particular country or in this particular state. There is something happening in that state, there's something happening. You get to know about all these things, and then you also find findings. So here you need not go to all these states and do the study. What you're done, somebody is already done, you're reading and you're getting an information. When you read the information, you get to know that everybody has only done it on general police. Very, very few have done it, or nobody has done it on women police. So that's the research gap. You have identified a research gap, and then you're saying, I went through so many studies, but I found very few have done a study on this particular area. So that's the reason I am picking up this area for my study. You're justifying why you chose that area. This is called as the research gap. I hope I'm making it clear. Okay. Next. So literature survey, identifying research gap to justify the importance of the topic. So somebody asks you, why did you do this topic? Then you're saying, see, I'm justifying by saying that I went through so much of literature and I found very few have done it on this topic, or maybe I'm not getting literature on this particular topic. That means nobody has done it, and hence I'm doing it. So this is it helps to justify the importance of this topic. To promote brief information about the study to the account for the discuss literature on the issues relevant to the topic. I'm not going to the points. I hope that is clear. What is the next slide? Yeah. Now, coming to descriptive studies. Okay, what is descriptive? Descriptive, I told, can be of two types. Okay, so descriptive are mainly classified. One is cross-sectional studies, other one is longitudinal studies. I'll just go back to that design. Yeah. See here, conclusive research can be descriptive research or experimental research. So this descriptive research can be of two types, cross-sectional or longitudinal. So that is what I'm explaining. Sit here. Yeah. What is cross-sectional studies and what is longitudinal studies? To make it easy, I put the image. Not drawn by me. I looked for a suitable image on the internet, and that's what I'm showing you. So this is cross-sectional research. What's a cross-sectional research study? See, I've taken group 1, group 2, group 3, and then I'm doing a gist of all the 3. Okay, it need not be only 3 groups. It can be 5 groups or 10 groups, whatever. I am taking all that, and then at one time I'm comparing. I'm doing a study based on all these things put together. Okay, this is a cross-sectional. That means I'll give you an example. Now I want to know in Pune. Now I don't know much about Pune. Just giving an example, you can I hope you'll be able to understand. Now there are different areas in Pune, right? It's not Pune is not just Pune. You have some different areas there. Now you want to know whether which is that bingo. How popular is bingo, or which flavor of bingo is popular in Pune? Now, if I go to only one area where there are only schools and colleges, and there may be a particular flavor, everybody, doesn't mean that whole of Pune likes that. No, it is only that area. Okay, it may or may not be. Maybe the whole of Pune likes only that flavor, or only that area people, because there are more schools and colleges, so there is youth more, so they prefer that. You cannot say that. Or let me put it as even what do you say, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is a health hazard. We all know that, but the youth like it very much. You cannot have a party without Pepsi or Thumbs Up or Coca-Cola, right? You need to have that. It's a part of every youth the party, or when you call a party, you need to have something, an aerated drink there. So if more of aerated drink, or let us say Pepsi or Coca-Cola, is sold in one area in Pune, does it mean the whole of Pune like that particular drink only? No, isn't it? So how do I make my study so that my study will actually not carry much weightage if I just take only one area in Pune, where around your university, and maybe there more than Thumbs Up, they prefer or let us say all drink only Sprite. Majority of the sales happen only for Sprite. It doesn't mean that the whole of Pune like only Sprite. How do I understand? This is where I do cross-sectional research. What I do is I take few from your area where your college is situated. Then I go to some other college, and that area I collect information from there. Another few other colleges from different parts of Pune. Okay, maybe 10 different places. Maybe in near universities or colleges only, I collect this information, and then I get an info. If I get the same thing that people like Sprite, then I can come to a conclusion saying that in Pune, majority of the people like Sprite. Very few people like any other area drink. But when I take, so that gives more authenticity, isn't it? Instead of just your college and then say, no, everybody likes that. No, it's wrong. So the decision also will be wrong. It will be like that lady cigarette I told you. So what you do is you collect information from different colleges, and then you find out this college more of Sprite, even this college more of Sprite, but that college they feel Pepsi is good, more of Pepsi is being sold. The other college, both Pepsi and Sprite. So like that, you can collect information which will give you an overall proper result. This kind of a study is called as cross-sectional research study. I hope you understood. Okay. Now the second part is the longitudinal study. I mentioned two studies, right? Descriptive studies come under two types, cross-sectional, and the other one is longitudinal. Cross-section, you have understood. Now, what is longitudinal? Longitudinal, long. Like that, you make it easier so that you remember when you're writing in your exams. So longitudinal, you can see this. Okay. It is like I do a study of administering. Okay, let me take complex. So, okay, please don't, consider that I'm trying to promote Complan or anything. Just an example. Whatever I'm saying is just an example. So, supposing I want to know which health drink is good, whether it is Horlicks, whether it's Bonvita, whether it is Complan. So, what I do is I'll take in few children, maybe 10 children, 30 children. I divide them into three groups. Those children are, say, 5 years old. 5-year-old children. How many? I've taken 30. I made them into three groups. That means 10, 10, 10 each. Now, what I do is, in the month of January 2025, I identify these 30 students, all children, 30 children, all in the age group of 5 years. Okay. I've divided them into three groups. One group, I give them January 2025, I give one group Complan. Another group, I give them Horlicks. And the third group, I give them Bonvita. Okay. Now, at the end or after 6 months, say June, in the month of June, what I do is I test and see which health drink is really helpful for these children. Okay. Then I continue this study. In the month of December 2025, I check again and see which health drink is the same children, okay? The same 10 children, 10, 10, 10, 30 children. So I tested them in the month of January 2025, then in the month of June 2025, then again in the month of December 2025, then again in June 2026, then again in December 2026, then again in 27. So what I'm doing, the same group, I am testing them at different levels. Okay, this is called as longitudinal study. So this type of longitudinal study is usually done for medicines to check and see whether the medicine is effective or not. And even it's not just in the case of pharmacy, even these beauty cream, and they want to know whether that will make it fair, they'll remove spots or acne or hair oil, or, all that is you can call it as longitudinal, sorry, because they would have tested on one person and seen whether that is really making the hair smoother, all that. This is all longitudinal study. So longitudinal, I gave an example of six months. It need not be 6 months. It can be first week, second week, third week. Fine. That is also fine. That is all coming under longitudinal studies. Let's go further. Next is experimental studies. What's an experimental study? Again, I'm going to the same thing. I hope you got this. Okay. Exploratory research, you understood. This is something like an FIR, which helps us to frame hypothesis. Okay. And the other one is the conclusive. So you're testing this hypothesis through conclusive research. The ways in which you can do it is through descriptive research or experimental or causal research. Now, what we are discussing is experimental. Okay. In descriptive, you have two types. Okay. What are they? Longitudinal and cross-sectional. I hope you got that. Now we are coming to experimental. Sorry. You understood this, right? So we're going to the next one. Experimental research. So what are this experimental? It could be pre-experimental research design. It could be true experimental research design. It could be quasi-experimental design, or it could be statistical designs. Okay. This is experimental. How are you doing your experimental experiments? That's the meaning. Okay. So what's a pre-experimental design? It helps to give some sort of guarantee that the experiment can be a full-scale successful study. Okay. I hope you're getting it. A pre-experimental research tells you something like a pilot study. When you try a little and you feel that it is good, you see a new recipe on Reels. You don't cook in whole scale. What do? You cook a little and see whether it's really, good. And once it is good, just excuse me, let me have some water. Sorry. So I was talking about recipe, right? Yeah. So you watch a recipe and you feel it is very tempting and delicious. You feel it can be delicious. So you try it out at home. You don't try it out in huge scale. You try a little and then you see, yeah, it is coming out as I found it on the reels that I watched. And the second time you'll do it in a huge scale. The first time you did, no, that is called as pre-experimental design. The second one is true experimental design. Here the researcher randomly assigns the typing mistake. Okay, I typed it all together. So the researcher analyzes test units to experimental groups and treatment to experimental groups. So what's the true experiment design? He's actually putting the experiment. He's not testing. He's done something and he's actually testing. The third is quasi-experimental design. So a quasi-experimental attempts to establish a cause and effect relationship. Cause and effect. I put in more advertisements. So on social media, and that gave me more sales. So cause and the effect. Okay. And the design is this quasi-experimental design. Where is it used? When this true experiment, when you're doing a true experiment, the actual experiment, that cannot be done. And because it is, this is quasi-experimental is usually less expensive. It's easy for you to do when compared to the true experiment. It is more expensive. Thank you so much. Nice talking to you. That was Gayatri, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thanks, Gayatri. Okay. And so we have understood what is business research design, and I was talking about the different kinds of research design. And so I was just explaining about what is pre-experimental, true experimental, quasi-experimental, and the statistical design. So I was in that stage when we got a break, and so taking it forward. Statistical design is you're basically using a lot of statistics to give you a base or give you a justification uh, to prove that your study um, has the conclusion that you're giving to your study is having some kind of a support. You're giving a support saying that see, the statistical analysis is also proving this, so hence this can be done, or this need not be done, or it is better that we do it, or something like that. Okay, so these are it's through experiment, right? The experiment means there's some proof. That's the meaning. Let's see another thing that can happen in research designs. There are some errors that can happen. We call it as errors in research design. So the errors can be of these two types. Like if you can see the image on your screen, so errors can be a random sampling error. So the way you randomly selected your sample, that might not be the right person that you chose. So if you choose the wrong people, the data that you collect also will not be true. And you would have collected the data, and then you start doing the analysis, then the outcome will not be correct. Similarly, so that is random. So it could be divided into random sampling error and non-sampling errors. Okay, so random sampling error is only of one type, that is the sampling, the method that I used for collecting the information was not right. And the non-sampling error could be of these types. One is response error and non-response error. So non-response error means you have met those people, asked them, you've identified the people correctly, but they don't respond to your question properly. They give vague answers, or they say I don't know, or I don't want to answer. You must understand one thing, keep in mind that now supposing you get a questionnaire, you have 10 questions, 9 questions are answered, and the 10th question is not answered, then that questionnaire is not valid. You have to, so that's the reason. So supposing since you said you're in the 4th semester, I guess all of you are from the same, so in that case I can speak go a little bit more in depth. See, if you have already done your study, if you have identified the sample size, so you know that you have a formula. Usually it is 384 if it is unlimited population, then the minimum number should be 384. So if you have to collect 384 respondents as per the scale, it is better that you collect at least 5 or 6 more, or maybe 10 more. Okay, because in case one of the, if you collect correctly 384, and out of that you find, when you start doing the analysis, you sit and do the analysis, you find that 3 or 4 have not answered, you can't go back. So it is always safer to, even when you're collecting data on through your questionnaire, it's always better to collect a little more information. More information never goes out of waste. Will save you time, and maybe as you're doing your study, sometimes you feel that it is important to collect some, you deviate from that, you understand something and you want to know something, you can use that data. You need not again prepare a questionnaire and then go back to the same person, or they may not be there to answer you, they would have left the place or something. So it's always safer. Okay, so one is, so that's what I meant by non-response error. If you have non-response, then that questionnaire is invalid. Now coming to the response error, it could be of 3 types. One is researcher error, one it could be interviewer error, or it could be the respondent error. So what is the respondent error? The respondent, inability to speak or inability to answer that question. They feel that they don't want to answer that question, inability to say that, or unwillingness error. unwillingness means they don't want to say it out. So the difference between inability and the difference between unwilling, inability is say supposing you're asking a homemaker who has no idea about the slab rates of income tax. Okay. She is taking care of her family very well. She knows how to manage finances, everything. But she may not be aware of the slab rates of income tax because she's not into that aspect. She just knows that I can save right now. The new slab rate is changed a little bit now, but initially, because for this, the financially we have an exemption of 1.5 lakhs, right? So your investment in insurance, mutual funds, and all that. So if it is 1.5 lakhs under Section 80C, right? 80CC, yes, yeah. So supposing I am taking an exemption of 80C, she may not think in terms of in that terms. She may just say, I can get an exemption of 1.5 lakh, but she may not know the exact sections, right? Because she is not from that genre, or she's not able to understand that aspect like you, who has studied finance, or who has already studied the aspects of income, the scales in income tax. So it's inability for her to give answers on that. That is inability error. Unwillingness error is, now you're asking somebody. Some people don't like to share their age or their address. They may not be willing to do that. Phone number, they may not be willing to give. They may not be willing to share their health. Yeah, there are people who are not very comfortable sharing their details about their health conditions. Some people are not happy sharing their income details. They may not give the exact age, all these things, weight, even that. So all these things, I don't like to tell my weight because I feel that it makes me look so. I feel that I'm, you know, very heavy on earth. I feel it make me feel that I put on so much of weight. So I try not to. Somebody asks me my weight, I say don't ask me that. So this is unwillingness error. As I said, the questionnaire becomes invalid. So you should. So what should we do? You may ask. You may require a question, and like you want to know what is the income, but they are not telling the income. You know that it can be a unwillingness error. So what should you do? You should cleverly ask the question. So how do you put it cleverly? You put it in a bracket, like uh, your income is per month is 1 lakh to 2 lakh, bracket 2 lakh 1 to 3 lakh, 3 lakh and above. So whichever they click, that way, whether they don't tell it exactly, but at least to some extent, which band that they come, or the age I told you. They don't tell the age, then you put it in the brackets like 20 to 25, because if you ask them their age, if they're not interested to tell, and if you're forcing them, they are 25, they want to say they're 22 or something like that. So rather put it in brackets. So 20 to 25, 26 to 30s. That's a better way. So that's what this chart is trying to tell you. So one is respondent error, other one is interviewer error. Interview error is respondent selection error. You have not chosen the right respondent for your question. That is an error. That creates an error, because error in the sense that either they are not able to give you the right answer, or they give you wrong answers, and you analyze that data leading to wrong conclusions. Next one is questioning error. The way you question, that is also leading to getting wrong answers. Then recording error and cheating error. Cheating error is like, you try to manipulate just because you want your hypothesis to be accepted, or you want to reject your hypothesis. You manipulate to make that answer come. So that is one error. Then the surrogate information error. Surrogate is now Okay, this can, it could have happened as students. You would have seen, say, supposing I send a questionnaire to all of you and I just ask you to respond to the questionnaire. So there could be someone, your friend, who says, oh, I'm so busy, I'm not having the time to answer this. You answer it for me. So the response is yours. You're giving two responses in different ways, but it's not her answer, right? This is a surrogate answer. That also is wrong, error. And then the measurement error. Measurement is not the tape measurement. You have the scales of measurement. We'll go to that in a little while. And that is called as a measurement error. And then population definition error. You have not defined the population well, and it could be sampling frame error or a data analysis error. So these are the different kinds of errors that can occur in research design. See, what happens is when you have this kind of error, it will affect your decision making, because you'll come up with the wrong decision. I mean, the wrong decision leads to so many complications. So